TG Geeks, episode 62, March 7th, 2016. After driving in LA this weekend, I promise not to complain about Phoenix traffic. Until tomorrow. Hello and welcome to another webcast from tggeeks.com, where Ben and Keith, the Two Gay Geeks, talk about all aspects of geekdom and nerdery. Sci-fi, comics, film, horror, genre, you name it, we talk about it. I'm Keith Lane, and we're coming to you from TG Squared Studios in lovely Phoenix, Arizona.
And I'm Ben Raggington, also coming to you from, I just came in from Los Angeles, and boy, am I blah, 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 tired. Phoenix, Arizona.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that later. So we got some news here for you, so let's go to that.
First off, one big item that just kind of came down the pipe a couple of days ago, which I think kind of freaked everybody out. I wouldn't say that it blew up the internet, but boy, did it get a lot of attention.
Yeah, at least on our website.
It did on our website. Boy,
Yeah.
did we get traffic on that. Apparently, Warner Brothers, in an attempt to try to further up their franchise, build it up a little bit, because Marvel does have a huge jump on them, and Warner's is looking at their DC line, and they want to kind of play catch-up a little bit. Well, they're already looking at doing a sequel to Suicide Squad, and that movie's not even out yet.
How about that?
Yeah, that movie's not scheduled to come out until August 5th.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that long.
Yeah.
And they've already talking about a sequel.
Yeah. The movie, Suicide Squad, it features an ensemble cast including Will Smith, Margot Robbie, Joel Kinnaman, and Jared Leto. It is scheduled to open August 5th, 2016. That is one heck of a time. And yet, they are already looking at trying to, like I said, play some kind of catch-up as far as building up their franchise a little bit. And this all comes on the heels of that, the big controversy. Oh, is Batman versus Superman actually going to be a good movie? Do we need to push our Justice League movie back so that we can do so we can do a Batman solo flick? I mean, right now, what's going on at Warner's is it's almost making me a little bit dizzy.
Gyrations.
It is. And as far as the news goes with Warner Brothers, I mean, like I said, they're already making tentative plans for a Suicide Squad. It would kind of suggest that they're feeling pretty confident about this one.
Yeah, apparently.
Well, from what I have heard, there have been some screeners for it, and they're really excited about it, which is kind of weird because I'm personally a little meh on what I've seen so far. But if the studio's happy about it and if the fans are happy about it, then I guess that means they're going to look at a sequel.
Didn't you talk to somebody at Warner's when we were there about Suicide Squad?
No, not about Suicide Squad. No, I was talking to Jonathan about Suicide Squad.
Oh, yeah.
No, we were talking about, we'll talk about Warner. I was talking about Supergirl.
Yeah.
That's
right. That's right.
So anyway, we've got that story on our show notes if you would like to read more about it. But as I said, it appears that Warner's is already looking to do a sequel. And the likelihood is that the director of the first film, David Ayer, is going to most likely return to do the next one.
Well, it's kind of nice to have a job for a couple of years.
Well, yeah. I mean, Zack Snyder doesn't seem to be complaining very much.
Yeah.
They seem to do Joss Whedon pretty good, even though he's not doing any more Marvel flicks. It certainly did great things for his career.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next story, this is one that just made my geek bone go all over the place.
Absolutely.
And that is Big Hero 6 will become a series on Disney XD.
Yay!
I am really happy about that. We got a little bit of time to wait. But instead of doing a full-blown theatrical sequel, they're going to produce a TV series instead, and it's going to debut on Disney XD in 2017.
Yeah, and we had said that after we saw the movie the first time, and every subsequent watching of it, we've said
because it
needs to be a TV series.
Absolutely.
They don't have to do the big overblown, animation that they've been doing.
Yeah,
it can be TV animation.
It doesn't have to be fully rendered to like IMAX or big theatrical level. I mean, it could, even though television now and Disney XD, I'm sure, is in 1080p, it's in HD, but because it is for a smaller screen, they don't have to render it quite as in depth and for as long, so that would make the production a little bit cheaper. Anyway, as I said, the series is currently in production. It's going to pick up right where the movie left off.
That's pretty cool.
In that fictional, what I love to call the mashed up city of San Francisco.
Yes.
I want to live in that city. I love San Francisco. That is just the coolest city in the world.
It is.
And it will, as said, it will pick up right where Big Hero 6 left off. Hero is going to be enrolled in the San Francisco Institute of Technology. Everybody is coming back.
Yay.
So we'll get to see Wasabi, Honey Lemon, Fred. Does that mean Stan Lee's going to be in it?
Yeah, he may.
I mean, Dad.
Several cameos.
Dad's got to be in it. Yeah, and of course Go-Go, and of course you can't have Big Hero 6 if you don't have I'm Baymax.
Hi, Baymax.
I'm Baymax. So they will all be back. And the kind of neat thing about this is that this is going to allow them to really go maybe more into the area of just individual characterizations.
Yeah.
I mean, let's think about it. From all we can tell, Hero is likely to be the youngest student at the Institute, or at least definitely one of the youngest.
Exactly.
This could really create an interesting dynamic as far as the characters go. Maybe you can address all sorts of issues that don't necessarily rely on the superhero activities of the entire
all
group.
Kinds of things. There's just all kinds of things across the board.
I know. I'm really excited about it. And there was a quote from Disney Channel's worldwide president, Gary Marsh. And all he said was...
Gary Marsh? Gary Marsh?
Not Gary Marshall.
Oh, not Gary Marshall.
Not Gary Marshall. No, Gary Marsh.
Oh.
He said, our colleagues at Walt Disney... See, I'm going to say that now. Our colleagues at Walt Disney... No, I'm not going to do that. Not going to do that. Our colleagues at Walt Disney Animation Studios have created a brilliant new world inspired by Marvel with vivid, unique characters. We are thrilled to have the opportunity to further develop these characters into a world-class animated series full of fun, action, and the kind of endearing storytelling that only Mark, Bob, and Baymax, Mark and Bob, producers, that they can deliver. I'm stoked.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I would actually watch it.
Oh, absolutely, I would watch this.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to it. Now, lastly, this one, wow, we're getting reactions that are
a little consternation on this.
Really mixed on the board on here.
All over the place.
And that is the first trailer for the new Ghostbusters is here. We will have that trailer in our show notes for this episode on our website at tggeeks.com. So when this episode goes out, just go to the website, find the episode listing, and read the notes. You will see the link for this anyway.
And tell us what you think.
Tell us what you think about it.
Do you like it?
Yeah,
Do you not like it?
Yeah, let us know what you think about it. We've already run the story so far, but for you listeners...
We've got some comments in the comments.
Yeah, but we'd like to know what the rest of you think about it.
Absolutely.
But if you want to know the story, it basically... it was just been reported that Sony has released the first trailer of Paul Feig's revival of it's very, very beloved by so many people, 80s comedy franchise starring Kristen Wiig, Kate McKinnon, Melissa McCarthy, and Leslie Jones. The trailer seems to have a bit more intensity than perhaps the first film did, but it is going to balance some of the horror, mystery, and comedy elements that the original Ghostbusters had. It will be a little bit different. Some of the original Ghostbusters cast members are going to be in this. Apparently, Bill Murray. I didn't realize Bill Murray's he's signed on to be in this sequel. I didn't expect that. Ernie Hudson, Annie Potts, Sigourney Weaver, and Dan Aykroyd.
How about that?
They will all make a cameo. So I'm really curious. We've got an interesting little feedback on this later, so I will save that for then. But yeah, if you have an opinion, please share it with us. Take a look at this trailer. Let us know what you think. I would really like to know what all of you think about this.
Yeah, and that's the news.
Hi, this is Jonathan Latt, author of the pulp novel The Geek, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks podcast.
What does that mean?
I'm gonna guess it's Christmas.
Christmas.
Yeah, a little late.
No, that's the birthday music. And here are a few selected birthdays for March 7th through March the 13th, 2016. March 7th, Wanda Sykes and Willard Scott.
That man will eat anything.
Yeah, that's a quote from a Mad About You episode, the Thanksgiving episode. Also, March 7th, Maurice Ravel he was born in 1875. He was the most famously for Bolero. Yes.
But he also orchestrated a lot of music.
A lot of stuff.
In fact, his
Absolutely.
orchestration for Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition is regarded as kind of like the standard.
Yeah, it is. He did a lot of that orchestration, so different things. March 8th, Aidan Quinn.
Was Elementary.
Of Elementary, and Mickey Dolenz, and James Vanderbeek. Also on March the 8th, Sid Charisse.
The woman who had legs that would go up to her neck.
Exactly. And Pepe Romero.
Oh. Okay.
And as well as Alan Hale Jr., the skipper.
The skipper from Gilligan's Island.
Gilligan's Island, yes. March 9th, Bobby Fischer.
The insane but brilliant chess player.
Yes, and Mickey Spillane. March 10th, Lance Burton.
Magician extraordinaire.
Yes. March 11th, John Barrowman and Alex Kingston.
Now that's freaky.
Amazing.
I was floored by that one.
Yeah. And Anton Yelchin, as well as Douglas Adams.
Well, that is
March
a real,
11th.
that's a geeky birth date.
Exactly. It certainly is. March 12th, Ron Jeremy.
Okay.
If you have to ask, you're not old enough to know, and you don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
Also, March 12th, James Taylor, Liza Minnelli, Gordon McCrae.
Oh, wow.
It's a bright, beautiful day on the meadow.
Yeah.
And Jack Kerouac. March 13th, William H. Macy, Emil Hirsch, and Joseph Priestley. He was a chemist back in the 1800s, and he one of his famous things, he was a theologian and a chemist. And,
oh, wow. Renaissance man.
Oh, my gosh. Everything. His is supposed to be one of the discoverers of oxygen. There's two other that kind of claim that, but he's most widely known for discovering oxygen and his writings on electricity.
Oh,
he was
interesting.
quite the chemist and scientist, shall we say. And that is it for the birthdays this time.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
It's a party and you're invited. I'm Tim Calloway, your host and keeper of the Mouse Castle Lounge, your weekly dose of news, commentary, and interviews from the world of Disney, served up with your favorite tasty beverage. Drop by and see us at themousecastle.com or just look for the Mouse Castle on Facebook. It's good times and great conversations about the house that Mickey built. By the way, did you know that Walt Disney's favorite drink was a Scotch Mist? I'm more of a martini man myself. We'll see you soon at the Mouse Castle Lounge.
Go give a listen to our friends Tim and Anthony over at the Mouse Castle Lounge. You might even enjoy a martini. And everybody knows that is our listener feedback sound.
Right, we've got a few things here, some interesting stories. We had a rather unusual comment that just came out of the blue.
Yeah.
It was from Dallas Weber, in case anybody doesn't know who he is, but that last name sounds familiar. He is the father to Arkle, our friend Brian Weber.
Yes.
Anyway, he had a question regarding the TV series Arrow, and he simply asked us this. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really going nuts wondering who's in that grave on Arrow. What do you think?
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, we've been all over the board on that one.
We have been. I mean, obviously the first most popular theory was that it was going to be Felicity. Well, then in another retelling of that flashback scene, we saw Felicity and Oliver together in a limo after Oliver left that gravesite. So then, I was really sitting on my first theory. And my first theory is that it was Oliver's son.
Yeah.
And that storyline just wrapped and doesn't look like it's going to be the case. I mean, they're really just messing with us now.
Who knows who's in there?
The popular theory now is that it's going to be Detective
Lance.
Detective Lance.
Interesting.
Well, he does die in the comic book. He by the time Laurel / Dinah really embraces the Black Canary persona, her father's already dead. So maybe they're going down that angle. It's hard to say. One theory that I kind of have, based on Felicity's reaction when they were in the limo, is because Oliver, I mean, he was upset. Oliver wasn't just like racked, but he was kind of upset by this particular death. We never saw the headstone, obviously. He gets in the car, and he pretty much asks Felicity, "So, what now? What do we do?" And she's very upset, very, very upset, and she's kind of like, "Take him out, take him out." And we can only assume that they're talking about Damien Dark, even though he was really given a sound thumping this last episode.
Yeah.
But it's either him or it's Malcolm.
Yeah.
One or the other. And I got a funny feeling that the person that is in the grave, I think it's Felicity's mother.
Yeah, that could be interesting. That could be.
I mean, I doubt it's Thea.
Yeah.
That would be, although that could get the reaction, possibly.
Yeah.
And it would open the door to get Roy to come back. And, I mean, not be Speedy, but be Arsenal, which is a character that Roy Harper does become, that does become his superhero identity in the comic book. So it's possible. But I really like the brother-sister dynamic right now.
Yeah, it's going good.
I enjoy that, especially now that she's been spiritually healed of her resurrection.
Yeah.
Completely. I kind of like where her character's headed. So it looks like it could be her. It's not Laurel. I doubt it's Diggle. I would hate if it was Diggle's wife.
Oh God.
That would just that would just suck.
Yeah. Oh,
But
yeah.
he wasn't there. We didn't see
True.
John. True. So I don't think it's him. I tend to think I'm going with Felicity's mom right at this point.
Yeah.
But the fan theory right now, the popular fan theory, is that it is Detective Lance. So that's our theories right now. People, what do you think?
What do you think?
I would like to know what all of you think on that. And now, moving on to episode 61, where we ask the question, should we read Ready Player One before we see the movie?
And we asked Claire specifically because we know she had read it.
We know that she had read it because she had previously, in last episode, she gave a comment about how happy she was at the casting and that they're going to be doing this movie. So we asked her, and she said, "Hey guys, and I'm not going to do this in an Irish accent because that would just be mean. Hey guys, you were asking if you should read Ready Player One before or after seeing the movie. I usually read the book before seeing the movie because I'm a bookworm like that. Ready Player One was one of my favorite books I read last year, and I read a lot of books. I would say read it beforehand because it's a great read. I do find that certain things from books are left out in the movies, if for nothing else but time. Little nuances get left out because you can't always hear the characters' thoughts and opinions. A lot of Ready Player One is from Wade's perspective, little thoughts in his head, so it'll be interesting to see how they do that. Even if you don't get a chance to read it, you could listen to the audiobook that's read by Will Wheaton himself. I'm going to stop waffling now. Bet you're sorry you asked." Well, no, not really.
No, we wanted to know.
And you actually touched on some things, Claire, that I think are kind of important. Because one of the conversations that we had a couple of days ago was regarding Ready Player One. Should we read it? Should we not read it? And in my opinion, I had two schools of thought on that. The first one was the Ender's Game school of thought. I read that book several years before I saw the movie, and it did not take away at all when I saw the film. In fact, if anything, it kind of filled in the gaps as the movie went along. I mean, I did notice certain omissions, but I didn't feel I was being robbed having read the book before I saw the film. On the other hand, I remember quite well reading Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, and I remember loving that book to death. And then I saw the movie, and I felt like I was robbed. So that was a tough one.
Movies can be, it's hard to say.
It's really hard. I mean, I felt like the omissions in that one, well, it wasn't just the omissions, but I think the whole overall filmmaking style was just a complete departure from anything we'd seen before, at least with the first two flicks. And just the omissions I thought were kind of important.
Yeah.
I mean, they were not just little things here and there like I saw with Ender's Game. I mean, the things they cut out of Azkaban were huge. So now we come back to what would they omit out of Ready Player One? Hard to say, but she's not the only one who says we should read this book.
But we have
first.
to say one thing before we leave this one. As of this recording, the date that we are recording this
happy
is
birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Claire. Happy birthday to you.
Yes, it's Claire's
birthday. As of the day we record this, yes.
Yes. So happy birthday, Claire.
Yes. So anyway, but somebody else chimed in, and that was, hey, good friend of the show, David Wagner. David, have not heard from you in a long time. It's been too long. I was thrilled to see your feedback.
Yes.
Thank you for giving us feedback here. He says, Ready Player One is a terrific book. I don't see any benefit to waiting before reading. By all means, grab it if it goes on sale and read it. You'll like it. If you prefer digital books, and then he says in parentheses, like I do, and like we do, I love reading stuff on my Kindle.
Yep.
He says, just pop it into your Amazon wish list and keep an eye out. It routinely drops to a cool $1.99 for the day. Should make a terrific movie, especially if helmed by Spielberg.
Yeah. I'm excited about that.
There's that recommendation. And, of course, as Claire said, there's an audiobook that Will Wheaton did. And I like Will a lot. I've heard some of his audio work, and I think it's tremendous. He's an excellent reader. So if it's an unabridged version of the book, I might very well check that out as well. Something I can listen to while I'm working.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, there's 2 votes to say, check this book out before you see the flick.
I guess we'll have to do that.
We may have to do that, but hey, we're putting it out there again. Anybody out there, do you think maybe we should wait?
Anybody else?
Did any of you maybe read the book and then kind of wish you hadn't? That maybe you'd like to see the film first before you read the book? I mean, I'm not that we're trying to set up an argument, but I like to get both sides of the story here, so to speak.
Yep.
So then, very, very, very quickly, regarding the story we just talked about, the Suicide Sod Squeakle. Yes. The Suicide Sod Squeakle. Yes. The Suicide Squad sequel. We got a response from somebody named Chauncey Kelly, and he simply says this: they got a lot of catching up to do.
Yes, they do.
I think he's comparing the DC to Marvel cinematic universes.
Yep.
And then we talked a little bit about this when we discussed the story about the Ghostbusters trailer and how there was, as you put it, Keith, you said there was some consternation.
Yeah, yes.
And we got some consternation from Crazy Joe.
Crazy Joe, he's consternated.
And he simply writes, I hope this turns out to be the Gem and the Holograms / Fantastic Four of 2016. The cast is fine, but is beyond insulting that they broke continuity from the first 2 films. Now, I'm just going to say, I did not know that. I was not aware. He then adds, if Ray and Winston were back training the new crew, I'd be on board. It's also insulting that the movie is not in continuity with the 1984 film, but the trailer is trying to trick people into thinking that it is, with the whole 30 years ago 4 scientists save the world thing. Feig is trying to have it both ways. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, Joe, you make really, really good point, and I would agree with you because I don't like the idea of you trying to of the studio trying to create a reboot, but at the same time trying to make it look like a sequel. I find that annoying. I have not seen Ghostbusters in a very long time. I will admit, not one of my favorite movies. But I acknowledge the fact that it is enormously popular. So
Very popular.
Very popular, so I'm not begrudging anybody that. It's just me. However, Joe, I would love some elaboration, and I think our audience would too. If this is breaking from continuity, could you give us some examples? I think we'd all like to know. All right? And that is our feedback.
That's our feedback. We want to hear from you, our listeners. You are important to us. Absolutely. And if you like the show, or even if you dislike it, we want to know what's on your mind. But if you do comment, please be civil. We reserve the right to edit or delete comments that do not adhere to our terms of use and privacy policies. And I apologize for having to say that again. You can look up our Facebook page as TG Squared Studios or as TG Geeks Webcast, where you can comment on our episodes and articles we publish. You can even comment on our YouTube episodes or at tggeeks.com, and you could receive a shout-out on a future episode, as the people above did. You can also call our listener feedback line, and we will play your comment on air, as we have with Joe's comments and Brian's, at 469-TG-GEEKS. That's 469-844-3357.
Hi, this is Pia Thrasher, filmmaker, actress, and artist, and you are listening to the Two Gay Geeks.
And the second segment.
The second segment. So, permit us to indulge ourselves. We had one heck of a little adventure just down in Los Angeles for the last couple of days.
Yeah, we left Thursday night and we drove down to Los Angeles, and thank God for GPS.
Oh, man, did that save our butts.
On more than one occasion.
Yeah,
on the way out and on the way back.
I mean, it helped us to avoid some really nasty traffic situations, which would have set us way the heck behind schedule in more than one way.
Exactly. So we went down to Los Angeles, and it was just one of those trips and we set up a couple of meetings with a couple of people that we have contacted and been in contact with and are really considered friends now.
Yeah, I mean, it was for the most part going to be a social visit, but there was a little
also to just
bit
get out of
of
town.
Well, yeah, to get out of town. Yeah, I needed to get out of town. I was going crazy, but we got to kind of plant a few seeds here and there. I would say that it was on a rather humble level. It was productive for the show.
Yes, it was very productive. So the first off on Friday morning, we just kind of relaxed a little, got up at a reasonable hour.
Yeah.
A little later than we normally would.
Yeah, but we didn't have really any agenda Friday morning.
So, and we just kind of did our thing, went and had some coffee at Starbucks and sat and had a little snack and wandered around a little bit and
drove around Hollywood.
Oh, yeah, the Hollywood Hills, and right there off of Franklin, and
we were in
Franklin and Highland,
and
right in that area.
And we also got up into Mulholland Drive.
Yep.
Oh boy, was that an adventure!
Wow, there's some really incredible homes up there, and just kind of
they're really
hairpin curves,
very very old, and it's like, okay, these roads are designed for two-way traffic, but man, I don't see how they could do it.
Exactly.
I mean, it is just hair-raising going through there.
Yeah. So then at 11:30, we went to Cafe 101, right at that's an old Hollywood destination, and we had lunch with Patricia Chica, who we've interviewed and been in touch with. We've done a number of things
with Patricia in terms of, like I Am Alone. We've got something coming up pretty soon. We're going to be doing a story on South by Southwest, and as you said, we actually had her in an interview.
Yeah, and she introduced us to Jonathan Latt, who actually was there having lunch with her as well at the same time.
He had a business meeting with her.
And then we joined after they did their little business thing and got to meet him for the first time.
Which was a pleasure.
Yeah, and the interesting thing was we had, this week, I had downloaded his other little thing. Besides, he's the author of The Geek,
Right.
and we interviewed Jonathan. But I downloaded his four short stories, Jen and Other Stories, and he calls them a good way to
Waste your time.
waste
or
some
something like
time
that.
or
Yeah,
something like that.
effect, yeah.
Something to that effect. It's 4 little short stories. You can read it in less than an hour.
Easily.
It's really, really good stories.
Especially Jen.
Yeah. And
Oh man, did I
it's
love that story.
D'_JINN, and we're going to have a link to that. It's only 99 cents. If you want to know what Jonathan's writing is all about, check out Jen and his 3 other short stories. It's 99 cents on Amazon. We're going to have a link for it. Check it out. It's worth the $1.08.
It really is.
It
And
really
it's
is.
just $1.08 if you're not wanting to, or if you're a little afraid to invest in The Geek. I can't imagine why.
Yeah.
But if you are, if you're looking more for some kind of a sampler,
Yeah.
this would be it.
Yep, exactly.
And I loved it
Yeah, and
to no end.
And then once Jonathan left, we sat there and talked to Patricia for a little bit and just caught kind of a catch-up thing,
Yeah.
to say hi and get to know each other, and kind of took some pictures
Well,
with
she's been
her.
wanting to meet us
Yeah.
anyway. I mean,
Yeah.
we've done a number of things for her with certain stories. And I remember seeing a comment from her. I think she put on her own Facebook page. She referenced us. She did a link for us on Facebook. And then she went on to say, I want to meet these guys. Well,
Yeah.
So, okay, we wanted to meet her too.
And she actually set up another little introduction for us while we were there at lunch. Zach Noe Towers. He is the filmmaker for a short.
A
that
dark
is
comedy,
dark
as he
comedy.
described it.
Yes, dark LGBT horror comedy. Or, yeah.
I would call it a horror comedy,
we
but
haven't
he's...
seen it yet.
we just got the screener information
we got the
for it.
screener information, and he's been submitting this to different film festivals, and we look forward to seeing it, and we hopefully will get an interview with him,
And
possibly next week. You
know,
never know.
and to say he actually is trying to get that thing, as of Friday, he was trying to get it submitted at Cannes.
Yeah, so it could be
That's a
interesting.
big
Yeah,
deal.
That's a big deal. Yeah,
That's a very big deal. Anyway, yeah, we got to have a nice little lunch with him, and to be honest, I was really happy we did that.
Yeah, it was kind of nice.
Because it allowed us to really break the ice with him. And I think that will because obviously we're going to have him on the show. We're going to interview him. But I think that really laid the groundwork for, I think, could be a very good interview.
Yeah, I do
Because
too.
there's no having to get to know him having to get to know us.
Yeah.
We've already got that established now. And he's a really sweet guy.
Yeah, he is.
Totally sweet guy. So I have a funny feeling that that's going to be a very enjoyable interview when that finally comes around. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, so after we did that, we took some pictures with Zach and with Patricia, and then headed out. We had a tour that we had scheduled for Warner Brothers Studios, and we got to see some interesting things at Warner.
Yeah,
It
got to
was-
see
it was
some
kinda
interesting
inter-
things.
I mean, we
It felt
did the-
more historical than anything
Yeah,
else.
we did the tour quite a number of years ago, and we did the VIP tour at that time,
Which was
when it
a
was
lot of-
cheap.
Yeah, when it was cheap. And to be honest, I would say if you're ever going to do a VIP, if you're going to tour any studio, whether it be Warner's, I mean the big ones are Warner's, Paramount, and Universal.
Right.
I mean, and while Universal is more of a theme park these days, they do have a VIP tour. I would say if you're going to do a tour, you have to do the VIP tour because they will actually take you onto working sets.
Yeah.
I'm
We
one of
did-
these.
Yeah,
Go
we
ahead.
did Paramount a number of years. We've done
Twice.
Paramount a couple of times, and I think both times we did the VIP tour.
I don't think they had a VIP tour back then.
Yeah,
Did
the,
they?
The one where that was like us and the Asian couple.
That was the first tour we
and
did.
Then a German couple. I mean,
We were the only English-speaking people
yeah.
there.
So we were asking all the questions.
Well, it worked out
So-
great for us because our poor tour guide. I remember that was a walking tour. We
Yeah.
walked everywhere, and I remember that was for our anniversary.
Yeah.
We had set up. We were on standby to see Frasier that very night, and because we were so generous and asking questions, and hey. We're TV trivia people, so it was really easy for us to say, "Oh, did this happen here and this happen?" I mean, so obviously we were able to engage with her in kind of little nuts and bolts sort of ways that she liked, and she was able to guarantee us seats for Frasier. But that was our
pretty
very first time there.
Yeah, but the Warner tour, we actually got to see a couple of other things, and I think it was the VIP because
it seems smaller in group.
Yeah, there was just a couple of people, and we did some other things that we didn't get to do this time.
Right.
And but we did get to see some of the historic things. And a sad thing is that when we came around the lagoon that they have there, I thought, isn't this where the western town where Blazing Saddles was? And he said, and this is what do they call it, Warner Village now.
Yeah.
And he said, this is where the old western set was. And I said, oh, I thought that's where this was. They tore it down.
Which means, because we were talking the other night, when we, actually the other night, it was like some weeks ago, when we saw the first episode of Agent Carter for this season, there is a sequence that is done in an old western town. Obviously, it's got to be Universal's because theirs is still, I believe theirs is still standing.
Right. We thought it was
we thought it was Warner's.
Warner, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, what a heartbreak. I mean,
well, they don't do any westerns anymore.
No, they don't do westerns. They don't make a lot of money, but there's something really funny about, this is the post where the horse was tied up, that Mongo punched out.
Yeah.
Fun little things like that.
Fun little things. And they had their little house on the prairie.
Was that Yeah, I guess that was Warner's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they had all that kind of stuff. But
that's all gone.
We did get to see only one working set. And that was one thing that we went for a show that is coming back. We can't say what it was because we weren't supposed to be there. But we got to see a working set.
Yeah.
And once it comes back, we'll say something about
then
it.
we can say what it is. But it's coming back. But I will get to say there was one set I sorely wanted to get onto, but absolutely no. Supergirl.
Yep.
I want it on that set in the worst way. Because they have this really gorgeous set for in one of the sound stages. It's for Catco. And that's the actual office building that Kara works in. I wanted to really get in there because, I mean, when you're watching these things on television, they look absolutely amazing. I mean, you look out a window and it feels like you're actually looking at a city skyline. But turns out they're not. I mean, I remember it's all fake. Well, I remember a couple of years ago when we did the Universal VIP, we got onto a set for
Crossing Jordan.
No, well, it's not just we got him too.
Oh yeah.
Was a Scandal? Oh man, I can't remember the name.
Shoot.
About that gossip rag.
Right.
I can't remember, but anyway, there was a really good proscenium outside a window to kind of simulate Psychorama to simulate a skyline. And when you're on the set, it's not just that, but when you're on the set for anything, and like the one TV show that we got to see, I was amazed at how fake everything looked.
Oh yeah.
But when you see it on the screen, on the television screen, it looks amazing. So I really wanted to see the Catco set, and absolutely not. That's not going to happen. I was really bummed by it.
Yeah.
But the one thing that kind of got me about this, and we did get to go through the back lot of, Gilmore Girls. No, we could talk about that one because we weren't the only tour that was back there. We were not allowed to take photos.
Well,
that's the only one.
Okay. We
were not allowed to take photos, but yeah, everybody knows it's coming back.
Okay.
It was announced on Netflix.
Okay.
It's old news. Everybody knows Gilmore Girls is coming back. Because even Jonathan knew it was coming back. Well, he's plugged into the business. Anyway, but yeah, when we got to go check out that back lot, what I loved about it is that we actually got to see the groundskeepers dressing up the set. Which I thought was lovely because they're getting ready to do a Halloween episode.
Yeah, they're actually putting all the leaves on the trees. It's
because the trees have no leaves on them.
Unbelievable.
So they had to tie every single leaf on there. But it was really neat. I mean, sure, they're not doing any filming, but you got to see the production team getting that backlot ready.
Yeah.
And it was fascinating to watch. That's the kind of stuff I like to see. I don't want to go down a backlot and say, okay, you see that that area right there, that alley right there? Yeah, that's where Tobey Maguire nearly drowned when he was filming Spider-Man.
Right. We did actually get to go on the set of Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory, yeah.
They were not. Everything was covered up.
Everything was covered up because they were not.
There,
there was
so.
no filming going on, but we did get to see Big Bang Theory, at least the set, and that was one of those sets where everything looked so horribly fake.
Yeah,
it was shocking. I could not believe. I was actually even slightly disappointed. I mean, there's even a bookcase. If you ever watch the show, there's a bookcase there with all these books that are probably owned by both Sheldon and Leonard, and I'm looking at them and thinking, but they don't even look real now. I mean, they really look like props in the worst way.
But that is television.
That's television for you.
It certainly is.
So that was kind of interesting a little bit, but like I said, I'm really intrigued with seeing how things are done currently. And I remember when we did the Warner tours last time. Yeah, I think I mentioned we got to go into the Foley room.
Right.
Because
exactly.
We were asked the question, what do people like? Is there anything that any of you are interested in? And I said, I'm fascinated with post-production. So they took us into the Foley room where there is this control booth where a man, he's got, banks of sound equipment and computers. And just beyond that is a sound room that's just loaded with props, a gigantic screen with like a clock that measures to like the billionth of a second.
Yeah.
So that these two people could literally simulate every single ambient sound that is supposed to be in the episode.
Yeah.
It was fascinating.
It was really fascinating. It really was.
And that's the kind of stuff I really want to get to. I don't want to see something that's set up for my own benefit or set up for the guest's benefit. Maybe a lot of people are into that, but not me.
And
that's just not me.
Since we did that, ambient sounds or sounds, the Foley on a lot of TV I listen to.
I'm more aware of them now.
It's like, wow, they really got that one high, those footsteps high in the mix.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, that's a little too much.
Yeah, you become very much aware of those kinds of things.
Yeah.
So, like, if maybe the footsteps are too loud because maybe someone was not very smart when they designed the floor, then you have to have your actors go and do ADR. They have to do a secondary audio recording in order to loop their own lines, and then you got to go back into Foley, and then you got to do the stuff with any sound that's supposed to be there. I mean, it's really a complex process, but that's the kind of stuff that I'm really interested in seeing.
Yeah, it was kind of
so
fun.
It was kind of fun. The Warner tour, it was okay. If you're gonna do it, I would say definitely do the VIP tour. Budget for it.
Yeah, it's $300. So
budget for it, but it's about 4 hours.
Yep, it's 4 hours versus the 2 that
It's worth
we did.
it.
Yep.
Absolutely worth it.
I
You
think
will not regret it.
They take you on some other sets and live working stuff and etc.
I would say the next time we go down there, maybe not do Warner's, but the next time we go down, maybe we'll want to do Paramount's. And I say we need to really plan for a VIP tour.
Absolutely.
Because I would love to do that again.
Yeah. Then after we did Warner's tour, we just drove over to Universal to do the City Walk. And
it felt like more the Village Walk.
Yeah, it was like the first time we did City Walk many years ago. It was pretty impressive, and now it's just kind of
we
walk. I think we're getting old, and stuff
Are we getting really curmudgeon-y?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Stuff doesn't appeal to us anymore.
I don't think it's something. I don't think it's necessarily stuff that doesn't appeal to us. I think it's just our memories are playing tricks with us because I thought it was just so much bigger.
Yeah.
And
well,
it's
and they
small.
had this great toy store.
Yeah,
the
toy.
Yeah,
they had some really great stores, and those are gone.
Yeah. So
yeah, they had a store that I really wanted to check out. They had some really classic toys, and that store was gone, and I was like really sad because I'm still on the hunt for a Lost in Space robot.
Yeah. So then we had dinner at Wolfgang Puck's, and then
I got sick that
night. Went back to the hotel. My Lord, trying to get back to the hotel.
The traffic was
nightmare.
just evil.
Trying to get from Universal, and we were actually staying down by LAX. That was the cheapest hotel in the area without driving, 7,000 miles away. We
did put this together rather quickly.
Yeah.
So we did that. I mean, we did this really on a rush budget. So that's probably why we did what we did. I mean, I think if we better plan for it, which we will next time, we'll stay in a better location.
Closer. Yeah, exactly.
Something that's a little more centrify, shall we say.
Exactly. So then Saturday morning we got up and we were supposed to meet Jonathan Latt for dinner in Hollywood that evening.
Day.
So we had the whole day to do something. But we got up late because Ben wasn't feeling
Oh,
well.
I
mean,
did-
we
I
got a
slept really
late start. And we said, what are we going to do? And we said, well, we might go down. Why don't we go down to Oceanside and see our friends Rick and Lou? Or maybe we can go to Anaheim. And no, blah, blah, blah. So we decided, okay, hey, let's go to Griffith Observatory.
We've never been there.
Never been there.
Let's check it out.
So we run into the traffic trying to get there. And then we drive up. And we drove through the park, inside the park. Right there at the observatory, and we drove looking for parking, and we drove and looking for parking, and we drove some more looking for parking. Pretty soon I looked over my shoulder and I said, my God, the observatory's 3 miles away.
It's a very hilly hike.
And it was jam-packed with cars.
It really was. It was absolutely swamped with people.
So we
And I
decided
thought,
we would just drive out of the park.
Yeah.
What are we going to do now? So we drove around. We were going to try to do a tour at Paramount, but they were
sold out for the day.
And so we said, okay, well, let's go on the other side of the studio. And we went to Hollywood Forever Cemetery.
Yeah.
And you saw a memorial for...
Well, I saw several memorials. I saw one for... Oh, God, yeah. The one that really popped out for me was for... one of the Ramones. I can't remember which.
Johnny Ramone.
Johnny Ramone. That's right.
Yeah.
I was going to say Joey, but Joey didn't play the guitar. It was for Johnny Ramone.
Yeah. So, and we got to see a memorial for Toto.
For Toto.
For Toto, too.
We saw something on a wall. It was for Mickey Rooney, I believe.
Yeah, Mickey Rooney's mausoleum.
Yeah, his mausoleum placement, I suppose.
Whatever the hell you call that.
Sure.
Now. I lost my mind all of a sudden. So then we kind of drove around.
Oh, we went into the mausoleum, got some really lovely photos.
Yeah, there's some great
beautiful stained glass
and some just beautiful marble carvings.
Yeah, so we got some photos in there. I mean, they were kind of strict about you can only take photos of like famous cemeteries, famous celebrity grave sites, things like that. Because there's a lot of just regular civilians that are buried there too.
Absolutely.
In fact, there was someone, we only had like part of the cemetery for us to go to because there was an actual burial ceremony taking place at the same time.
On the other side,
so we were kind of limited to what we could see.
Yeah.
So we were there for like maybe 45 minutes, an hour.
Yeah.
And then we left.
Then we drove.
And I was like, what are we going to do now?
That's on actually Santa Monica Boulevard. And so we're driving down there, and you looked up and said,
I looked up. I saw I saw a sign for historic Route 66. I went, look.
Yeah, and I knew that Santa Monica Boulevard.
Well, we
was
both
Route 66,
knew that, but we kind of like,
hey.
We were both reminded that it was.
Yeah, so we said, hey, well, let's drive, since we have never been to the end over at Santa Monica Pier and the end of Old Route 66, or the west end, shall we say. So we decided we would drive down there, and boy, that's a long drive.
Yeah.
We were in Hollywood, so then we drove through West Hollywood.
Well, that was a hoot.
Then we drove through Beverly Hills, and then we drove through, what is it, Westwood. And
I believe it was.
Santa Monica, finally.
And
then you get to the pier.
Get to the pier.
And finally, we found a parking on Ocean Boulevard.
Which was not like 12 miles away.
Exactly, and a meter, and we put some money in there, and we wandered around and
got
took
more
some photos. And the little info kiosk right there at the end of right there at Ocean and Santa Monica they had the big sign for the end of Route 66, but I asked them if they had any Route 66 stuff, and they said no, we really don't, but the guy down on the pier does. So we walked down to the pier eventually, and we met Ian Bowen.
Actually, before we got there, we saw something that really tripped your trigger.
This was really great. They have a camera obscura there. It's like a camera obscura is like a pinhole camera, and it projects it down onto a plate, and as the aperture moves around, you can see out onto the beach or out into the ocean or over onto Ocean Boulevard.
You get a full 360 view.
Full 360 view that's out on this platter, if you will, in the middle of this room. And it's a fascinating piece of equipment.
The only bummer is that the day was very overcast.
Yeah.
But once you and the room you go into is largely pitch black. The only illumination is the light that is coming down through the pinhole camera onto this big canvas.
Yeah.
That's the only light that's in the room. And because it was such an overcast day, naturally the image we were seeing was also very overcast. But the whole science behind it was fascinating.
Yeah.
We were there for like a good 10, 15 minutes just looking at it.
Kind of a fascination with any kind of camera for that matter. And because camera obscura was a
Lovecraft?
no,
Not Lovecraft, but no, Night Gallery.
a Night Gallery episode. I always thought it was a Lovecraft story, but it was not. It's paired with a Lovecraft story. So,
But yeah, it was. They did a big camera obscura Night Gallery episode. So I know, especially you've had a fascination with it.
Since I was,
there's something, because that's one of my most familiar Night Gallery episodes. I will admit I didn't say anything, but I had a slight tiny feeling of unease when we were going to that room because I just had no idea what was going to happen.
If Rod Serling
showed up, I would have been running screaming. That's all there is to it.
Anyway, so after we did that, we walked down on the pier to the Route 66 little kiosk that they have down on the pier, and met Ian Bowen, who is very knowledgeable about Route 66. And he had all kinds of stuff. He knows all kinds of people along the route. He's driven the route. Of course, we stood there for 45 minutes and talked with him about Route 66, and I showed him some of my crazy photos.
Well, I showed him some of my photos. You showed him a lot of your photos. He showed us some of his as well. I mean, it was just it was a nerd gathering of Route 66.
It was great.
It was far out. Really enjoyed it.
We really enjoyed talking to him. I mean, we could have stood there for another hour or so.
Easily, but we had to get back to the car before the meter ran out.
Yeah, and we made it with 10 minutes to spare, so that was a good thing. So then we headed back to Hollywood.
The way we came,
which was not so bad going back. And actually, when we on the way out in Beverly Hills, I think you saw...
I think I saw the house of my podcasting hero, Chris Hardwick.
Yeah.
Because I know that Chris has talked about how his house is under construction. Now, I'm going to admit, I'm leaping to enormous conclusions here, but I know he has a Fiat. He bought a Fiat recently. So we're driving along. I happen to look, and then I see this house that is it's a nice 2-story house. It is being completely renovated.
Yeah.
From outside, inside, and there's a Fiat right out in front. And I said, I wonder if that's Chris Hardwick's house.
Yeah. So anyway,
I mean, I saw it right off Santa Monica Boulevard. So if anybody out within the sound of my voice, if any of you actually know Chris, well, A, tell him I'm a huge fan. But B, ask him, is your house like really at the opening of Beverly Hills?
Yeah.
Just like, within a stone's throw of Santa Monica Boulevard?
Yeah.
Because if it is, we saw it.
Yeah. So hopefully that is.
I'm hoping.
So then we finally made it back to Hollywood. We parked in the garage under Hollywood and Highland. We kind of looked at the shops there.
Here was another disappointment.
Another one of those things that was like, oh my gosh.
Has this? It's gotten smaller.
It's gotten smaller.
I swear they've taken stores out.
We actually got to see somebody slimed.
Yeah, because there was a big Nickelodeon thing going on there, and Nickelodeon TV. They used to have this TV show where people got slimed and whatnot. So they actually did a sliming. It was disgusting.
Yeah. And we wandered up and down Hollywood Boulevard a little bit, and
went into a store here, a store there. It's like, oh, yawn.
Yep. So it was.
They're tourist traps, really. I mean, they're pretty sad.
Yeah. So then we were supposed to meet Jonathan at 6 at Musso and Frank, which is, I believe, the oldest restaurant in Hollywood.
Said it was
1919.
If it's not the oldest, it is certainly one of the oldest.
Yep.
I mean, it's very established. There's all sorts of history there in terms of actors who have dined there.
Oh, virtually everybody.
Yeah.
Since 1919.
It's very, very famous.
Yeah. And we got there early, so we sat at the bar and we watched them making some martinis, and I took a photo just for Tim Calloway, our friend at Mouse Castle. Yes. Gosh. Anyway, so it was a lot of fun. We had a good dinner. That Musso and Frank has been there since 1919, and their grill has been building up this microscopic layers of
Yeah,
flavor
it's this
across-
residue
Yes.
of flavors of steak.
So
So wow, I had a
Oh,
filet
yeah.
mignon, and it was just the outside of that had just the perfect bit of sear, that crunchy
Yep.
sear on it. And I ordered a medium, and so it was just a little bit pink, unbelievably juicy. It was so good.
And I had the New York strip, and it was incredible. The meat was great. It was nice and charred and had a wonderful flavor. And we had salad, and then we had dessert. And oh my God, I was just rolling out of the place.
It was fantastic.
It was incredible. The food was fabulous.
It really was. So if you're going to be in the Hollywood area on a vacation or something, set up a reservation for Musso and Frank. It's not cheap.
It's right on Hollywood Boulevard.
Yep.
It's 6669.
6667.
6667, yes.
It's not cheap.
Yep. It's not cheap, but
It's
the
worth it.
Food is incredible. And it's that old Hollywood feel when you walk in, and it's just great.
And it was so funny. When we walked in, we were first going to sit at the bar, and there was this woman who was just staring at us. And I don't know what her issue was, but I've decided that she was probably leaning over to her husband and say, "Those two guys who walked in, those are the two gay geeks." I've decided that's what she was talking about.
Well, how about that?
Yeah, and that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay. And so we met Jonathan, and we sat there and had a wonderful chat and dinner and just talked about everything under the sun. Unbelievable. It was just a great time. Jonathan, thank you. We had a fabulous, fabulous time at dinner.
Can't wait to get together with Jonathan again.
Absolutely.
Seriously.
And then we made it back to the hotel and
Passed out
and got up, and it was more than just marine layer this morning.
Oh, it was rain.
It was raining, and all the way back from LAX all the way into Palm Springs, it was raining. In fact, one person had hydroplaned and turned their car all around somewhere around. It was after Ontario.
Yeah, somewhere between Ontario and Riverside.
Redlands or something.
It was
something
awful.
like that. And the standing water and hydroplaned a little bit. And
Thank
just
goodness our car has all-wheel driving.
Pouring.
Because we hit some hydroplane as well at one point, but because of our car, we were able to drive through it. It was nerve-wracking.
Yep. And then on the other side of Palm Springs, between Palm Springs and Blythe, oh my God, the wind and dust was incredible. It was just craziness.
And at one point, we got out of our car. Man, was that the Flying J?
Yeah,
I think it was.
yeah.
Yeah, it was at the Flying J. That was just on the Arizona side of the state border. And man, the dust.
Oh my God.
I mean, you couldn't see the horizon. It was just dust, desert dust that's blown up from the wind. Not a haboob, by the way, people.
No, it was not. It was
It's
just
not
blowing wind.
It's just
and
blowing
dust.
wind and dust. It's not a dust storm.
Yeah. So we finally got back home to see the kitties, and thanks to our wonderful cat sitter Raven Ashford for leaving us some Doctor Who slippers,
She gave
and
us
for
Doctor
watching the
Who
kitty
slippers.
cats. Yeah, she loves to watch the kitty cats.
Yeah,
we
she's a
love
sweetheart.
to watch her to watch the kitty cats.
Yeah,
She
we
takes care
treat
of
her
them.
very well, and she obviously decided to treat us well by giving us these Doctor Who TARDIS-looking slippers.
they're great.
I laughed. They're funny.
So
I loved them.
We have just a few follow-up. That was our trip to LA.
That was our trip
we
to
had
LA.
a really great time.
It was a really good time.
It was
I
nice
think
to be out of town.
it was nice to get out of town, actually do something different than Disneyland. And I definitely say we will definitely be doing that again, probably before June.
Yeah, before Comic-Con.
One more time before Comic-Con, because I'd like to see Rob again.
Yeah, absolutely. So follow-up items. We want to let you know about an opportunity to support independent films still. That runs through March the 18th. This campaign runs through March 18th. Pia Thrasher has set up an Indiegogo campaign for her new film, Things We Dig. And Pia was the director for The Appointment short film, and we had interviewed her in episode 57. And this is her new effort. She's trying to raise money to make the new thing. We will have the link to her Indiegogo campaign on the website. Also,
Oh, I should say how long the campaign runs.
it
through.
runs through March 18th. Yes. And also, Phoenix Comic-Con 2016 continues to announce guests. Oh my gosh. And activities. Lots of activities going on. And as we get closer, there's going to be more guests, more things to do.
Yeah, and
it's going to be incredible.
As it gets closer, the announcements are going to be just sizzling hot.
Yep. There's hotel rooms still available. The Hyatt and the Renaissance are already booked, but you might keep checking. You never know. They might release another block. Who knows? Keep checking PhoenixComicCon.com for updates.
Then we want to give special thanks to the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, Doctor Who Talking Who, on Twitter. If you wish to check out the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, and why am I mentioning them? Because they run our stories rather regularly. So we thank them for that. It's like syndication.
Yeah.
They're syndicating our stories, and we thank them for that. And if you want to read the Doctor Who Fancast Guide, because they've got all sorts of interesting stories there, just go to Twitter and find them at Talking Who.
Yes.
And we also want to give a special shout out to our good friend Brian Weber. He has something known as the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News. He is on Twitter known as Social Justice Scald. His Dispatch News is like all over the map. I mean, they've got politics, social issues, entertainment, science. I mean, it's just real
stuff from us too.
Yes, stuff from us. I mean, it's a real potpourri. And if you want to read the Arkle Times Post Dispatch News, just go to Twitter and find him at Arkle. That is ARKLE. And he also has something called the Incorrect Star Trek Voyager Quotes. Now, if you're going to take a look at that, yes, it's on Tumblr. If you're going to take a look at that, do it in the privacy of your own home or the privacy of your own surroundings. Don't do it at work, because a lot of that is
some of it is not
it's
safe for
not
work.
safe.
And next time, hopefully, we'll have a few quotes. We just didn't have time to put that together
today. Sorry, we've been we've been out of town.
Yeah. And we want to give a shout out to the Lookie Show. The twins are a hoot. I'm telling you, they give us lots of love on Twitter, and their Twitter handle is at Lookie Show, and you can catch their show on YouTube as the Lookie Show. And if you like old movies, this is the show for you. They do a little campy reviews, and as two puppets, and they're just...
What are their names?
Sasha and...
Dagmar?
Dagmar, yes.
Yes.
And they are just something else. Now, I know that they said that they were having some technical difficulties with their current episode.
Yeah, I was really sad, really bummed by that.
They have lots of episodes up there.
A lot of good stuff out there.
Really good stuff. So check them out.
And we want to give a shout out to my favorite Facebook group. And no, it's not the TG Geeks page. Actually, it is. That is our favorite page. But so I will say my second favorite.
But this is a group. This is a group.
Yeah, ours is a fan page. This is an actual group. And it's called The Gay Geek, because they allow us to post our episodes there on that page. And the URL is facebook.com/groups/The Gay Geek. And I have to give a special acknowledgement to the Grand Poobah moderator. His name is Jeremiah Reeves. I really like this guy.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you, Jeremiah. That's how our episodes also get out there, too, and that's helped to build our audience.
Yes. And lastly, we want to alert you to the Amazon ads on our page. Rather than ask for money from you, we decided we would try the Amazon Associates and put the ads on the page. We have several widgets on the right-hand side and some ads at the bottom of each article. If you could do us a favor and at least click on one of our ads every so often, it tells Amazon we're getting traffic on our site. And if you buy something from Amazon, we get a small commission. So we thank you for helping us, and thank you for your understanding. Up next week, we might have
an interview.
We might have an interview. It might
Maybe.
be. We might.
We might. We don't know yet.
We don't know yet.
We just got back into
trying
town
to get that set up. So maybe we'll have an interview.
We might have an interview.
You bet. Okay, that should do it for this episode of TG Geeks Webcast. Be sure to check out the article for this webcast. We will have several links on the page and all of the follow-up stuff. And remember, you can comment on our Facebook page or our website, tggeeks.com, or you can leave us a voicemail at 469-TG-GEEKS. That is 469-844-3357. From TG Squared Studios, I'm Keith Lane. Thanks for listening. I bid you peace.
And I'm Ben saying cheers.